It is the 6th of June, 2019, WIKISPEED Stand-Up. Take her away, Lauren.
Okay, the past week, I'm having trouble thinking. I don't think I did very much, except in terms of backing. I'm in the process of getting a really good way to back up both my Linux and Windows computers. So that's a general kind of especially if we start to make progress, or I start to have stuff I don't want to lose. Anyway, that's just a generalized thing. And I can't think of anything else. Coming week, I would like to review Michael's stuff, look at his Python and everything on the Wiki Factory, and also do the charitable reporting. And blocks are just a lot going on. I've got more financial things to do, house things. Oh yeah, my bathroom project may be back on track. The people doing it showed up again. So that's it for me.
Okay, you surprised me. Sorry about that. I wasn't quite ready. So last week I didn't post stand-up because we didn't get the stand-up recorded. We discussed the beacon using the Raspberry Pi, not bothering to spend more time on the Arduino trying to get the multiple serial ports working. So that sounds like a plan. I opened up the Raspberry Pi. I took a few pictures, and I'm going to do a kind of an unboxing, but not really. I powered it up. I took some video, and I found out that I have successfully cleaned out my computer stuff, and I no longer have a USB keyboard to connect to it. So I got to go get a $7 keyboard. And I would like to back up the micro SD card that came with it. It says it has Noobs 3.7.1 on it, which gives you 5 different operating systems you can install. One of them being Windows IoT, a couple of versions of the Raspberry Raspbian, and then a couple of other loads as well. I think I'm going to make a backup of it onto another 16 gig card before I get the installation done, just so that I have something to put into the next one, and I might even try the Windows IoT just to see what it looks like. I got it connected to my TV. Everything seems to work. The mouse worked, but I chickened out and stopped before I installed the operating system because I wanted to do a backup. Next week, looking at continuing on the Raspberry Pi install, see if I can get Python running and get some of the serial stuff done that I've been trying to get done for 3 weeks, I think, 4 weeks. No blocks, and I guess that's probably back to you, Lauren.
Okay. And I will have a question for crosstalk about the Raspberry Pi. Anyway, retrospective, I'll give myself a 3 because I didn't really do much. And 8 for the team, and process improvement. Yeah, I can't think of anything right now, so I'm going to pass on the process improvement. That's it for me.
That was quick again. Okay, I just have to bring my screen up here. Run over what we did. So retrospective, I'm going to give myself about a 5 out of 10. I got not very much stuff done, and I was hoping to get a little bit more stuff done. I do not have a process improvement. Retrospective for the team, I'm gonna leave it at 8. We did get a little bit of input on the Arduino versus Pi thing. And I guess that's about it. It really would be nice to get some more people on this call, but I am not sure how to do that. I have picked up a little bit more equipment. I guess that's probably a crosstalk thing, though.
Okay.
So what did you want to talk about on crosstalk?
Yeah, so the Raspberry Pi, do you have a hat?
No, I just went with the 3B plus, I think it is. So the hats cost almost as much as the Pi does. The whole Pi is $30, and if you get the Pi Nano, it's like 10 or something like that if you get it on special. So any kind of protection on the pins doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because it costs more than the Raspberry to begin with.
Great.
I thought the hats were going to be much less expensive, but it didn't end up being.
Okay. So I mean, what did they do? They make it a little easier to see the pins or whatever?
The hats put some protection in, like isolation or electrostatic protection or that kind of stuff. They let you drive a little bit more current because you're really hooking directly up to the pins on the chip with both the Arduino and the Raspberry Pi. So if you make a boo-boo, you're going to fry something.
Right. But beyond that, I mean, is it bigger? So, are you offered something that's bigger and easier to work with the hat, or is it?
The hat still has the same pin spacing unless you're going for the screw terminals. The screw terminals are easier to connect wires to, but they're harder to connect like a ribbon cable to, if you want to describe it that way. So it kind of depends on what your wiring looks like, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, I saw your ribbon cables, and those look pretty cool.
Yeah, they work good for temporary stuff. I don't think they'd work so well for vibration. The temporary jumper cables, but the regular ribbon cables that you just push on all the way down, I think work pretty well for the vibration. So I got a little bit of more equipment this week. I got a couple of old electric lawnmowers, 24 volt. They're not self-propelled, and they don't go very fast at all. So if I wanted them to go a reasonable speed, I think I'd have to put at least 48 volts into it.
What about power?
They're 10 amps at 24 volts, so it's like a third of a horsepower maybe. They're not hugely powerful. But the other thing is they're not using a controller at all. It's the battery is connected through a safety switch directly to the motor. So it's you don't have any variable speed. It's like, here's one speed. Here we go.
Right. I have a lawnmower like that.
So, and I mean, it means you can run the battery until it's a little bit flatter. You probably shouldn't, but it also means you don't have to essentially use 24 volts. You could use 12 if you wanted to. It would just turn slower.
And I don't have a battery mower. I have plug-in mower.
Okay.
I was wrong. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, that's kind of that's what I was asking about. So I want to get exactly what you got. So I think you sent me something, and so you didn't get a kit. You just got the Pi.
I got a Cana kit. It was a Raspberry Pi kit. It came with the micro USB that has the Noobs operating system on it. It came with a power supply and a case.
Okay.
So
that sounds good.
I think I sent you a quote or a link to it, I think.
Yes.
And that reminds me.
Go ahead.
Cana something anyway.
Yeah, I remember.
So
I'm ready to go ahead and order that, and I'm going to start. So I put a needle. I bought a sewing kit because I needed to sew up some rips in my clothes, and then so I got I wasn't happy with the needles I had around, which were like those little portable sewing kits. So I bought some good needles, and then I hooked one of them up to the alligator clip on my uh, what's it called? Power battery tester or power multimeter.
okay.
The other one, I have to hook up. The original probe broke, and I soldered on an alligator kick clip, and then I put the sharp needle on it. But I need to do that with the other one so I can start playing with the pins on the car. And kind of what I set myself as a task was to look at your videos and verify at least that some of the I was maybe randomly try 3 of the pins, and if they're the same, I'll assume that it's exactly the same. But I'm told in cheap RC things that sometimes they vary how the pins are.
Oh, I could see that. Really, if you're going through the video, going through the pins shouldn't take very long.
Okay.
Like once you're set up and you've got 2 of them done, going through 15 pins, I think. Did I post the spreadsheet? Check on that.
Yeah. I looked at the spreadsheet. I think I downloaded it. Yeah.
Okay, so if you've got the spreadsheet, you're only looking for probably 10 of the pins.
Okay.
Forward, backward, left, right. Okay, maybe only 4.
Yeah, so then I'm ready to order the Raspberry Pi and maybe do some of the exercises and the, some of the exercises in the books I've got to light the lights and just get an idea and look at is it GPIO?
Mm-hmm.
That you're using and you're going straight from GPIO. Is that like just for testing, or is that a short term, or for longer term? Would you be putting some protection like a hat or something on? Would you be soldering, or were you saying that there's one kind of ribbon cable, and that's like not secure, and another kind that is, or something?
Well, I would solder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you were interrupting the signal coming from the remote, and then we're connecting the signal after the CPU, but before the driver chips. So that does provide some isolation. So
Okay.
I don't think I'd bother with a hat or any other protection.
Okay.
I'm using an Arduino for that, not the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi I'm looking at using on the beacon because it does serial stuff so much better.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay. Now I understand. I get it. And so
I
maybe
will be trying to use the Pi on the motor control as well, because it does communication so much better. But I got it working on the Arduino first.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I'll go with the Pi first, and then depending on how things develop, if you end up running with the Arduino for our kind of variable configuration kind of setup, then I'll get an Arduino too.
Mm-hmm. So,
and I told you about Circuit Python. I was going to look into Circuit Python, which is for assorted boards like Arduino.
Right, but you should be able to get a version for like full-blown Python runs on the Pi, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the Pi has lots of stuff about, and as a matter of fact, I'm looking at a book right now, and it's a generalized book, but then it has a chapter on the I/O, the pin I/O.
Okay.
That's a Raspberry Pi book.
Yep. So the the communication between modules on the Raspberry Pi would be a lot easier to do. I'm still not sure whether we should go with the smaller Raspberry on some of the modules. It is really handy to be able to power up, like with one cable, the Ethernet cable, to each board, and then you just have the one cable. Because you're going to have to, if you do wireless, you're going to have to do a board or do a power cable anyway. So anyway.
No, simple. Yeah, and also, you know, my point of view is that I don't like small, except, you know, at some other later implementation stage, because it's already tiny. Everything's already tiny. So, in fact, if there was a Raspberry Pi, extra large Raspberry Pi, it's like, you know, the little kids have Legos that are bigger, right?
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Actually, that was one thing they were making at the Maker Faire, is that they were, it wasn't a Raspberry Pi, I think it was an Arduino, but they had the connection pads where you could put your hand on them and you didn't quite cover them. So they were big.
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, I like that a whole lot, because to me, it uses your energy to work with something tiny. It takes more energy. And like I'm on a tablet right now, 10-inch tablet, not a 7-inch. I don't have a 7-inch tablet. I have two 10-inch tablets.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing that I'm going to mention with hardware is I have a. Do you know what a RoboMow is?
Nope.
It's a little robotic mower that kind of it's not quite like a Roomba, but it's the size of a lawnmower, and it kind of wanders around your yard, but you need to put a perimeter up.
Right.
And well, I blew up the keypad. It got too wet. I left it out in the rain. So I believe everything else still works, but the problem is the please go button is actually on the keypad. So I can't actually start it up, which is really annoying. So if I can find out how to get that, I'm going to do the same thing that we did with the remote control truck with that little robot mower, and that I think is an interesting project as well. But it's not applicable to what you want to do.
How did I not know that you had a robot mower?
I don't know. I have a lot of stuff. I collect stuff.
No, that totally makes sense to just rip the thing off, and you'll put in a super display. I bet I know LED and touch sensitive stuff on like Adafruit and everything. They have a ton of touch sensitive. So you could make a super control, but the control on it.
Yeah, and in fact, if I put a Raspberry Pi on it and I give it Ethernet, it can wander around the yard and give me video and stuff. I think it would be actually really cool. I just haven't had time to play with it. So, like most things, too many projects, not enough time.
You know about the Pi? You know about the Pi camera, right? It was kind of from early on. They had a camera module.
Yeah, it mounts directly to the board, or there's a ribbon cable or something.
Yeah,
I know it's very inexpensive.
And now there's quite a lot of hardware that they've been writing about in Make, which is AI vision that works. You know, that you like stick in between, or somehow it works with the Pi and the video. But it's like hardware kind of vision. It's like a little bit like, you know, how the human eye, I think. The human eye does a lot of pre-processing. And I think it's a little bit like that. So it's like the optic nerves or something aggregating and detecting things. So just something that was in the back of my mind.
Yeah, and it would be nice if we didn't have to have a beacon if the Raspberry could just recognize you and follow you.
Oh yeah,
But
so
I think we're away.
I nearly sent a thing out because they're talking about tiny LiDAR in the latest make.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I looked online, and the prices start quite low. I don't know how good they are. So LiDAR, I think I sent a thing out. There was an interview with the guy from Baidu about two or 3 years ago on my friend's AI podcast. And Baidu is like, the Chinese Google, I think. And they're big into, and they're considered to have a really good autonomous car program. And what he said was at that time was that without LiDAR, autonomous driving is crap. And there really needs to be a push. And he said there were several projects to bring the price of LiDAR down from what it would started at the $20,000 range.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence with LiDAR. I like radar. I like ultrasound,
right,
because they don't use the visible light spectrum. I mean, your eyes and the cameras are already doing the visible light.
Yeah.
If you can't see, then the LiDAR doesn't help you because it uses the same frequencies. So I'm not sure that brings as much to the table. High resolution when it works, right?
Right.
But it's obscured by the same thing that the vision.
Yeah, I read a summary,
kind of
a recent summary article, and it was talking about the there's one company that got really they won their stuff, won the all of the people who won the X Prize for the autonomous car used their system, which was expensive. It physically spins around, sort of the disadvantage. So people have tried to make electronic versions, and so it's actually split into 3 or 4 attempts, and they're all kind of in development, and none of them is that disadvantages. So I'll see if I can find the summary. It was somewhere fairly good, and I'll send it to you if you're interested. Okay.
Yep. Always interesting reads.
Okay.
So are we done for the next week?
Yep, I think so. So. So my project is I'm ready to order. I'm excited. I'm going to order a Raspberry Pi. I was going to get a Pi for a kid who he doesn't have his own computer to work at home, but at my Linux meeting, the kind of systems guy for the island here said he has a bunch of desk towers. That would be an alternative and maybe simpler to set up than the Pi for the kid. So I may only be ordering the one Pi.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go to one of the local computer stores when I get the keyboard. I'm also going to get 2 or 3 of the micro SD 16 or 32 gig.
Yeah.
So that I can have a couple of cards kicking around in case I corrupt something.
So I got a 128 one for my camera. So it seems to work.
I don't think you're going to have to use anything near that size for the Raspberry Pi. But I guess unless you're logging data or video.
Yeah. It says 16 hours of video of the 4K. When
16 hours of 4K is a long time.
Yeah. Okay. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.